Good evening, guys. Welcome to our post-annual general meeting and presentation, interview and chat. I'm joined here by Mayank, Adil, Saad and Mueed. Just to wrap up on thoughts about this evening.
Today we had a lovely evening about the awards, celebrating our hard work. Yeah, to you, Saad.
Thank you. I kind of agree. I think it was good to celebrate good achievements across the last couple of years. Due to COVID, we couldn't do the year before, but at least we managed to get everybody in a room and celebrate some good performances, individual performances and team performances. So I think it was a good night out.
Yeah, it was fun.
It
was fun for us hosting.
Yeah.
It was a new experience, so that was all right. But yeah, no, good food. Enjoyed it, seeing some familiar faces after a long time. And now we start Nets tomorrow, which is what the important thing is, because you're all getting smashed tomorrow.
We'll see about that. Yeah, it was good night actually. I was lucky enough to grab a couple of awards as well. So yeah, all in all, I think was pretty much what I expected it to be. So
What awards did you get?
The couple of awards like best batsman, best wicket keeper.
Best batsman and wicket keeper. And one of
I
the
missed out on
bowlers.
best bowling.
Yeah, but you have to be good at bowling
by a
first.
fair margin.
Good at bowling, complete bowling.
So you're planning to bowl next year?
Oh yeah.
As a
100%,
seamer spinner?
It depends. Like I'm just trying to be, Adil's copy.
Oh,
That's
really?
what Adil's do. Like start up with the pace, and then as the season progresses.
So I'm out of a job, it seems.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think
have you spoken to the captain about this? So he doesn't seem like he's agreed to this plan.
He won't be impressed unless and until I get him out a couple of times in the nets. So I've got like my plans clean and clear for tomorrow, and let's see how it goes.
But the captain will only be disappointed if he remains in second squad team. I heard rumours that the first team is trying to nick you into the team. What do you think about that?
Are you leaving us?
I haven't really thought about it, but I would not be very much happy to move into the first unless and until it's absolutely required, and I've been forced to jump in for the first. But I think I pretty much enjoyed this season. This was my fourth season, especially with the club and in London as well. So I think I pretty much enjoyed everybody's company. It was nice to get on some runs under my belt as well. So I think all in all, it was a very good season, I would say. I look forward to the next season with some plans already in place to wrap some trophies, which I wasn't able to tonight, unfortunately. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, you still smashed it.
Well done.
Yeah.
And then what's your plans? The next starting season's kicking off. What are you looking forward to?
I need to decide what I'm doing if I'm going to bowl seam or spin. That's my usual.
Well, you're not watching Sunil Narayan.
I was watching a lot of Sunil Narayan. Shout out to Sunil Narayan. No, I think I'll stick to spin. I think if I'm playing twos, there seems to be a role for that spinner, especially in timed games when someone has to bowl maybe 16 overs. And I think with the time limit and us kind of finishing up by 7:30, whatever it is, I think we need a spinner to get through overs quickly. But I think it's not just me. I think there's me, there's you, there's Anik, there's Asan, who all have roles. So I think I'll spin quad, or however many of us there are. I need to just up the ante a bit and make sure we're kind of on song as soon as we go. I think there have been moments where we bring spin on and it's like a bit of an ooh and ah, because either we bowl really well or they start getting smashed out of the park. And we kind of lose up in all the momentum. But no, I'll focus on spin. I need to learn to actually bowl some real offies instead of my off-cutters. Slow down the pace apparently, and then we'll take it from there. And maybe bat a little bit. I only bat on Sundays at the moment.
No, I'm sure you
managed a couple of 50s. Yeah, that was alright.
I've got a few runs, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, it was pretty good. I need to carry it over into Saturdays. Well, you need to teach me how to bat.
Who, me?
Yeah, let's do a tutorial. So when
yeah.
you're about to go out to bat,
Yeah.
what is your plan? What goes through your head? Give us
Nothing,
a
just see the ball and play on the merit. Even when I was in the middle, we had like a couple of good partnerships, and he usually is the one, you need to calm down with your shot selection.
He's the worst. I started him once.
Yeah.
Bro, we played, it was against Bow Green. It was like this disgusting track in West Ham Park. It was going up and down and turning left and right. The guy was bowling off spin, it turned like a deuce right. It was the worst thing in the world. I come out and he gives me like the full MCC textbook of advice.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, one, I can't bat. Two, I'm not going to understand any of it.
Yeah,
Three, let me do what I'm doing. But no, he went full Bob Roma, started dropping all the advice, and then I got out anyway.
No, but we had a decent partnership in that game.
We had a decent partnership. That was a hard. I remember you did really well.
The thing is,
So
when
you got-
Saad says calm down, my thing is just like go to the next one.
You're worse than
Did
me.
the opposite.
The complete opposite. So,
Calm down. And
but that to be
smash it out
fair,
of the
that
park.
NCL game, I was already Hamza was back with me. It's quite rotating the strike. So
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
decent. Actually, that was a close game that we won.
Yeah.
And thanks to that last 20 odd crucial runs.
Which
as
game
well.
was this?
so
The
that
Gagan-
good CC one.
The runners
Oh,
up.
missed that one, missed
What
that one.
meant
That was a good game.
that we were runners up
Yeah.
on Sunday as well.
Oh, okay, fine. I
Even though in the end we ended up beating Centurions as well, so we would have ended up being runners up regardless.
I think my only advice would be when you go to bat, have a nice and clear plan and be very clear in your head what you want to do. Like for me, for example, what I do is I get a boundary whenever I get in, try to get a boundary first and then just rotate for first 10, 15 balls, get my eye in and then, just play on the merit. Nothing like, you don't have to make it complicated basically. The more easier the plan is, the more easy to follow. So I just try to keep it simple and if you're going, even if you're lofting in the ball, just don't be shy enough. Just go with all your heart. The only problem when it happens is on the execution when you're half and half. Like even when you're running as well, you're not sure about, you're not trusting your partner, or when you're not trusting yourself to go over the infield. That's the only thing when I think you get out, most chances of getting out. Whenever you're clear, even if you're lofting the ball, I don't think so you can get out most of the times you'll succeed in your plan as long as your head is clear and play on the merit of the ball. I think this is the only advice I would have for anyone who would ask me how to bat properly or how to bat long basically.
I think it kind of changes, isn't it, a bit in terms of the role as well. So when you're opening, you are looking at more around facing, letting the ball, the shine of the ball. But most of the times, then you've ended up batting on a Saturday. There's like a crunch situation where we've either just had a collapse or we're just about to have a collapse or something. So I think the mindset clearly needs to be there around how and what needs to happen with your partner that you're with. Because for us, for me and Mayank, of course, it's slightly easier. We can see how we feel and we can just do things how we like. If we're opening, we can dictate the game, isn't it? So, but when you're at the other fag end,
quicker
it's
bowlers
different.
though, quicker bowlers swinging it more. It's harder.
I mean, it's a two-way sword, isn't it? If they are quicker and the ball is swinging, sometimes you get away with a couple of shots, like timing the ball or getting the edges, get the full, get that crucial movement in. So I think it's a two-way sword. You can get out as well, but it's a
I had a
more
golden duck this season.
it's a,
How many?
but it's a,
One.
it's
Better
an
last time though.
it's an opportunity as well, to score more 50s, more 100s and get that stats over, which I think I've always spoken to Saad Bhai, like the players who bat at number 5, 6, 7 is the most important batsman for the team, I think, and has got the most toughest job to do, like the 5, 6, 7 who we call as a finisher, basically how they're gonna end up the game. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4 is still like the important batters, I do agree, but I think the toughest job they are doing is 5, 6, 7, which I think they don't get enough credit for. So I always believe, in that it's a game of partnership, of course, but I think that those 3 numbers are very crucial for the team.
Wait, what's your thoughts? You haven't said some.
This winterness, as the captain said, that play on your front foot and play on the ground, because most of my shots last season were in the air and got caught most of the time. And second of all, practicing running in between the wickets. That's
Running in general.
Just running in general.
Just running in general.
running.
I think for your game, what you try to do is to hit 3 or 4 balls in an over out of the park, which you will end up, getting at some point of time. So what you need to do is to pick the correct ball basically, and if you want to hit it out of the park, just hit it. But you need to pick and choose, like when to rotate and when to,
not
when you are having that timing and that touch in the middle. So it's just about nobody else trying to tell you. It's your evaluation basically in the middle, how you apply yourself.
Yeah.
And it's also about respecting the good ball. So if you see if it's gonna hit your stumps, just don't try extravagant shot. So try and respect that one.
Yeah, but I think you will improve. You have got the potential. I've seen your couple of partners. You have batted with me sometimes in the NCL as well. So I've seen it. You've got that clear range shots. That I don't have. That I'm really jealous of basically.
You can hit a
But,
6.
Yeah. So I think you've got the potential. But it's just like, apply yourself, bat longer. Just tell yourself that you need to bat longer. I think that will solve the purpose.
You still want to go your leg spin?
Yeah.
It's your shoulder back.
Shoulders need to get better, yeah.
You're doing your rehabs.
Yeah.
All of that. Good. Okay, fine. I want to see it. Rashid Khan-esque.
Yeah, he's very deceptive though. You know, it's really
quicker through, yeah.
it's really tough to hit him in the air.
It doesn't
Actually,
spin
yeah.
that much. It just.
But it's
skips
quicker
through.
as well. You know, the moment you realize the ball is coming, and then you end up, you know, just
Just need to
from
pitch it in the
flipping,
right
yeah,
place. I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
It's just
Line
practice.
Over to you, Dinesh. We haven't heard from you. What's your plans?
He's been studying.
Well, it depends when I come back actually. I'm coming back, I think, beginning of June. So we'll see where it goes. But last season, came back towards the end of June. And obviously, I'm a fully flexible player. Play wherever I'm needed, you know.
Yeah.
Got dragged into the fourth team for like the finals, semi-finals. Playing the second team when obviously Mike wasn't here. Playing the third team wasn't my best choice. I'd play. I think I wouldn't play the third team, but second and fourth quite enjoyed playing.
I mean, you need to blame Sadbhai for that.
Well,
I never wanted to keep for that long in the season. It was just like I started it because I wanted to play for seconds.
Well, the good thing
Did
is,
you not mention you just won the award for best keepers?
Yeah.
I've won awards for everything. For every category I wanted.
yeah, one of my best innings were like with the second team and the fourth teams.
Yeah.
The third teams are barely getting
I mean,
runs.
Yeah.
I used to keep when I was growing up, probably like 12, 13, but then I just left it because it doesn't really support my lower back. But you know, this season I was trying to impress everyone because this is the first season, as I mentioned. So I just wanted,
Did well.
Did a good job in that. Did a good job.
Yeah, just wanted an opportunity whether play me as a bowler, all-rounder, batter or keeper. I mean, obviously my first preference is always batting. I love batting. I can do batting all day, you know, if given a chance. Just like the second category, whatever he wanted to pick me up, I don't care. Like I can do anything for the team. Just pick me up for the second. So that was only the thought process. And when I started doing it, he liked it. So I just carried on from there. So I'm not sure like next season how I'm gonna manage my workload, especially with the wicket keeping. But let's see how it goes.
Do we have other wicket keepers coming through?
Oh, we never know.
Oh, Saad is a wicket keeper.
The Nets are starting tomorrow.
Saad's
we will
the
always
best keeper we
some
have.
Oh,
surprises.
Mr. Saad is a wicket keeper.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
very
I've
good
got the
keeper.
memory of the season, isn't it? The catch
But-
of Kenny. Of
But the
course.
only thing that he does is he
That was
starts
good
off
catch,
well,
that was good catch.
and as soon as Adil comes on to ball spin and he hands me over like the
He
glass.
does that a lot of times.
He's like,
Yeah, I don't like keeping to spin again because faster bowlers you've got enough spaces and you've got enough
Yeah,
time to
yeah.
react with.
Carries
Especially the pace that he bowls, it's difficult to keep up to him.
No.
I managed to do it when I had no
That's
choice,
good.
of course.
Yeah,
In a game when we were like nearly out of. Yeah, I think that was a good game. I liked
that
it.
was that was a tight
We
contest,
turned
wasn't
around
it?
from our losing position
Was it
into
100
winning.
for one or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember actually.
So, Saad, what's your vision for the club as in general, like this 2023 season? Like, apart from cricket, what do you hope to see with the club?
I think we've seen some of the youngsters starting to flourish in our fourth 11 and third 11s. So I personally would just want to see more of that happening, more integration into getting the Colts into the right playing 11s as well, and making the most of it. And personally, again, we're going strength to strength. So we started off third 11 couple of seasons. We did last season was our first season with the fourth 11. We had a few games with fifth friendly games as well. So there are, again, things happening behind to see if we can get the fifth as well. We can, of course, with only 2 pitches, we are restricted to 4 teams. But there will be some hope that we can get the fifth team going, possibly sixth as well. So again, the more the better, the bigger the barrier.
You know,
one question I would like to ask is, what, in your opinion, as a captain of the Settings, what went well? First, like, what didn't go our way, especially in the first half of the season, and second is, what did we, do to overturn that in the second half of the season?
I think in the beginning it was difficult to role define because I didn't know much. Again, you haven't played with all those boys before, isn't it? So once you just gel in 11, you don't know what their strengths and weaknesses are. So there was a bit of learning curve in terms of have we got the right 11 out. And then once towards the middle of the season, we managed to role define who's doing what, who will be the openers, who are doing the middle order work, and who will be our core 5 bowlers. Availability played a key role as well in the beginning. Again, there were people on and off. But towards the end, at least, we had that clarity of thought to say which will be, if we are short of a bowler, which person are we pulling from the third, like if we short of a keeper, who are we pulling in?
There's only
So
one
I think
option there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was more around firstly understanding the right 11, or right people, getting the role defining. Because from my perspective, everybody needs to have a role in the team. So either you are playing in the top half, or you're going to be contributing with the ball. Otherwise, why are you in an 11 if you're not going to be contributing either way? So making sure people understand what they are supposed to be doing and what they are contributing towards in the 11. And I think once we did role define, we did a very good. I think we had 13 or 14 games with one loss towards the end of it. It was just the beginning, which was a learning experience, I would call it.
There are a lot of fringe players who, I think the culture at the club is there's an expectation that I'm going to play for this team, I'm going to play for the twos. What advice would you give to those players who are kind of a bit in and out, but may feel entitled to be in that team? Like, how can they prove it to you that they belong there, they have a role? Because there is a lot of kind of maybe talking behind the scenes, saying that, oh, I should be bowling, I should be batting, maybe slightly with the wrong attitude. And then, what's kind of your response to that?
I think it's a very tough role from a captain's perspective and adults manager as well. Like, there's so many people that are hoping and expecting a certain outcome as well. The problem is the competition. Again, you don't know if the availability is decent enough where you know this is your strongest 11. So how we work is more around having a 14-15 players core group to say, okay, this is what my core players are. If they are available, they should be doing X, Y, and Z in terms of your game. But if they are not, then who you're looking for as a replacement, if it's a keeper, if it's a batsman, if it's a bowler. I'm from that school of thought that everybody needs to have a clear role defined to say what they are doing in the team, because there's no point me filling up my team with 9 batsmen and everybody is a part-time bowler, because we all are, and then we're trying to chip in and out. That's not how I want to work. So I want to know my 5 bowlers are these bowlers, and this is my keeper, and these are my 5 batsmen. They can occasionally chip in, but they can't be the people that I rely on to bowl a full quota, bowl 4 or 5 overs, and then we chop and change. So I think it's harder to say, again, if the results, the play cricket doesn't lie, if people are performing. From my perspective, I started off the season playing even in the third 11 myself, even though I was captain in the second. That was more around, I want to play with you guys, I don't really care. Again, the teams is less important, because especially when it comes to second and third, so we're playing Premier Division in second, and third plays Championship Division 1 as well, which is pretty competitive.
Yeah.
And you've got, so we need to have 2 stronger teams, second and third, to play in those divisions anyhow. So I personally don't have a preference. Even if I end up in the third 11, I would play it. So from my perspective, it's all about cricket and whether you get most utilised, because it's pointless for me to get a bowler or a batsman in and I'm not utilised. And the last thing they want to do is waste a Saturday, because they batted at number 8 and only bowled a couple of overs. I bowled only 1 over. I never bowled at all and just faced 2-3 balls. That's a waste of it. I would rather have them playing in the third 11 where they're contributing with either the bat or the ball.
Yeah. And I suppose if you do contribute, you are making runs, you are getting wickets, you're going to turn heads and you'll get selected. So
that's pretty much what's happened to even this season as well. So we had people like Habib, people like Rago, people like so people do move up. So we have captains meetings, discussions. We look at results, we look at performances. So every week when we do announce players, we always look for, okay, I need a player, where do we get it? So if it's a batsman, bowler, whatever, who should be the people that we pick in those 11. So it's not just, especially from my team, I don't just like, okay, this is the 11 group of my friends that are going to play tomorrow. It's all about who would be the right fit for what I'm thinking my best 11 should be against that team.
Absolutely. You're the new secretary now. What kind of changes are you going to bring in?
Well, I think the most important change is to have more integration in the club.
Okay.
I think...
What does that mean, though?
What it means is, like, at the moment, we have a club inside a club, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So we have obviously senior players in the team who think the position is justified because they have a certain criteria to fill.
Okay.
But obviously, in a club where there's like a range of players, we have different talents. Some talents goes unnoticed. You've been playing in the 4th team. There's a lot of criticism saying, okay, you're doing this against the weaker teams. Oppositions in other leagues may not be on that level. So they think, okay, you can do that against a weaker team, but can you do that in the first team or the second team or whatever? So I think there needs to be more integration within all the players in the club. So even if you're fourth team or a friendly like fifth team, whatever, I think you should have the same opportunity to play if you have the same skill set.
Yeah, yeah. There was an interesting story, I think. Was it James? Not Dave, the other gent.
Paul.
Paul. Why am I calling
Paul.
him James? Yeah. So Paul, he was telling that story about some lad who used to play here in the Colts, and now he's like trialling for Nottingham.
Yeah.
And he basically could have been playing for
I
us, and like he's doing his own thing.
Other thing I mean by
Sent to his
integration
players.
is with the Colts. I think with the Colts and adults, there's like nothing in between to bridge the gap. I think once you leave the under 16 category, you're left stranded in like, okay, do I go to adults? Am I good enough to be in adults, or do I go somewhere else? Have another age category like under 17s. I know one set of under 17 team will do to under 19s. We don't. But then you go into another club and then you're obviously bottom of the pecking order again. So how do I progress my cricket in that?
But with the 4th 11 team, that should be.
Yeah, with the 4th 11, obviously we have like the adults, like the starting obviously the 4th team, but there's obviously room for getting Colts in, but there's also like an amount of Colts that we can get in.
Yeah, I think in the last couple of seasons we've done a lot of that integration. So we've started doing some nets. We've started seeing some players come through the ranks as well. Even this season we had some Jamil, Seva, Mead, Wasif. So there's like at least decent chunk of Colts that come in and represented Neom at least. And they've done well as well. I think it's more around putting you at that, not an uncomfortable position again. As a Colts, you don't want to be put under too much pressure to deliver as well. So it's more around what they feel comfortable when facing and delivering, and then being able to, because last thing you want is for Colt to turn up, get a couple of ducks, and they're like, okay, cricket's not for me. Cricket's not for me.
No.
I need to look something else. But I think what we've started doing is getting them more involved in our training sessions on Thursdays, also on Sundays as well. And that has helped us to see, okay, this person is decent enough, let's get them in the team. And they have played decent amount of games over the last couple of seasons. So that integration part is starting to show. I think, of course, it can only get better. So there's still room for improvement.
Yeah, like for me, it was my first full season of like playing for Neom adults, and I was pressured at first, but then Saad Bhai and all the other people like gave me confidence, and I actually felt very nice being in the team where everyone gives confidence, and yeah, it just gave me confidence, and I played well some games.
Yeah. And I think when you went back to your Colts games, I felt like you played with a lot more responsibility.
Yeah.
Even though we tell you off to not play these lofted shots, I remember playing on this pitch when you were there, and like you were the standalone kind of batsman opening the innings, everyone else was falling around you, and it was like you kind of showed that maturity. So I think it definitely does go around to benefit your game, which is good. And obviously you boys are the future, so got to get on it.
Yeah, you just need to start practicing batting with a lid on. Can't be batting without a helmet or a dodgy wicket. Sometimes
I don't know,
I've
so
seen it,
I've never would have helped
but this could be a little risky, yeah. So you just need to be
Our
responsible.
bowlers at our level are not as fast as we think.
No, but it's not the bowlers, it's the wicket.
It's all stuff.
But-
Even you can get hit while playing a sweep shot as well.
But we don't play
We don't play sweep shots.
like straight behind.
You're gonna top edge one right into your mouth, and then we're gonna see.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
And you'll
for
get
spinners,
used
I
to
do.
it. You'll get used to it. Once in the starting, it's uncomfortable, of course, yeah. But once you start wearing it consistently, you get it.
I've actually seen it helps you concentrate a bit more. I've actually gone even playing spinners with a lid on, because once you get into that zone of watching the ball through that small window, I've ended up doing.
But the only thing is his strike rate is 120 while you is 60, so that's the only thing.
Well, I think again it's more around I had confidence in the batting. I actually would be more than happy to play aggressive role as well. I want to play my shots, but you kind of have that responsibility on your shoulders to try and do what you can for your team as well. Because I think in the beginning that was one of the main problems as well, where we were buckling under, I think, averaging around 20 overs instead of 45, and we were meant to be playing 45 overs. So in the first 4 or 5 games we lasted 22 overs. So I think that was where the thought was, okay, let's just try and do what you can, stay out there for as long as you can and see what happens.
Talking about strike rates, I've got the highest strike rate in the club,
Who you?
360.
360?
Mhm.
What, average shout?
No, on one.
For one innings.
That doesn't count.
It does count.
No, that's like...
From an average of
So if
100.
someone hit a 6 first ball and got out, that's like a strike rate
Six,
of
seven.
300. Oh, yeah.
No, but my average, like overall, is still like my strike rate is still above 100.
Alright. It's already...
Just saying.
Fine, fine.
Just saying. You know, you can count me in the.
That's why you got the role of the finisher, isn't it? So you need to have a over 100 strike rate, otherwise it's very difficult to finish off an innings.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'll be batting with my 60 odd strike rate. You're going to be finishing off.
No, actually, that's important for the team, as you mentioned. I was just asking this question just out of context, but I think it was really important for the team, especially when you take the game deep. It gives more confidence to the batters to come. The more early they'll be exposed, the more kind of a negative mindset they develop. But I think that was a strategy that really worked out in our favour, especially in the second half. So I think we as a batting unit, we have done like overall well, but I think there is still a lot of scope of improvement, especially when we begin the season. It's really important to begin the season on a high note, and that gives confidence to the team, as well as that keeps us on top of the table from the start. So just on our toes. So
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to start strong with a good unit.
yeah.
Especially
And
we're going to be
any-
starting with a qualifier.
Any different tactics to win the coin toss this time?
Just get me in there, man.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to try and see if I can practice a few times before I come out. But it just doesn't happen. But at least we managed a bit better. Isn't it? Sam did all right in terms of a replacement for the coin toss at least. But it does work out somehow. We managed to win a few.
The
Even-
final was funny. You tossed it and it landed like
Right in the
this
middle.
side of the
Yeah.
thing, in the wet wicket. Yeah.
But it was actually a good toss to lose as well. I wasn't sure what we were going to do because of the overcast conditions, where the pitch there was nothing wrong. It was just like
I think it's
a bit of a water.
Why was that? Because someone left the pipe on the pitch.
I think it was a tactic,
Yes.
and we did well in the morning to make them believe it's a bowling wicket, it's a damp wicket. So they trusted us, and in the end they actually got smashed everywhere.
I was so happy the first ball came in so nicely. I was like, fine, that's going for 4.
Right, guys, thank you for this. Nice catching up with you after a long winter break. So looking forward to the Nets and the season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks,
luck
guys,
to
for the
everyone
time.
for 2023.
Yep.
And well done for 2022, everyone.
Yeah. On to more silver.
Thank you.
Alright.